A moment meant to showcase unity and military prowess at the G7 summit turned into another moment for President Biden after he awkwardly walked away from a skydiving demonstration and had to be guided back by the Italian Prime Minister. Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is also a Fox News contributor. Mr. Secretary, great to have you here today. To be obviously taken very seriously, this happened about this time yesterday. We started to see this video, and most of us watched it a few times to try to, assess what we were really seeing happen there. And it's important that as we report this, that we play it out in its entirety for our viewers and everyone to see from start to finish so they can decide for themselves if this is another moment and cause for concern. So let's watch it together. It's about a minute. Okay, so Mr. Secretary, as we continue to watch this play out in its entirety, obviously important to do so people can decide for themselves. What did you think when you saw this moment, as it's clearly not the first time we've seen the president stray? In fact, the New York Post covered today as meander-in-chief. Your thoughts as you watch that?
Well, Sandra, I've now watched this whole thing that you've just shown to the entire set of viewers. Make no mistake about it, this isn't a one-off. This isn't just losing focus in a moment. We saw just a little over a week ago where he struggled at the D-Day ceremony to stay awake. We have seen repeatedly on the world stage his inability to focus, that he is weak and not prepared to actually undertake the task that the commander-in-chief has. And these are the simple things. I attended more than a few ceremonies when I was Secretary of State. Those are the easy things to go to the ceremonies and these public events. The hard things happen behind closed doors. And if you can't do the easy things, if you can't stay focused in this moment, my goodness, it is a real worry. And I know our friends around the world, the nations that are depending on America to be strong and to lead, are watching this president demonstrate weakness, and they are very worried about it. And the result of now 2 wars and the Chinese Communist Party on the rise just tells you that these moments aren't isolated. These are a failed set of policies from the Biden administration, and it concerns me an enormous amount to see the next 6 months play out with this man as president of the United States.
Mr. Secretary, all of this is happening as we have been reporting the big news of these 4 Russian warships, including a nuclear submarine now sitting 200 miles off the coast of Florida. Just another example of the increasing threats to the United States. How big of a threat do you see that, and how urgent is this situation?
Oh my goodness, Sandra, it's another indicator, right? You talked about one at the opening of the show as well, the wide open border, and now we're seeing folks on the terror watch list and folks with munitions. I worry about that a lot. Director Wray, the head of the FBI, says he sees all the red lights flashing on terrorism. We see ships being attacked in the Red Sea, and now the Russians feeling like there is literally no risk to moving ships into Cuba, just less than 100 miles off our shore. I think the bad guys view our president as failed and weak, and I think our allies are very worried that America won't be there when they need them. And so, the fact that some ships sailed, if that was an isolated incident, Sandra, I'd be much less worried. But we now see a pattern of the Biden administration failing to protect the most basic security interests of the United States of America.
Really interesting. If our team has those live border pics you just referenced, we've had our team reporting there at the border today. We continue to see scenes like this playing out, Mr. Secretary. Obviously, you are lumping that into the threats to the United States as we continue to see the number of people crossing over our borders, not coming from Mexico, South America, and it is beyond. When we have Bill Malugin standing there and you've got people coming in from Turkey, from Egypt, from China, how do you assess this threat today?
It's very real, Sandra. I've been talking about this for months, and so have others. Thousands of people coming across your border, and you have no idea who they are or where they are going. Some subset of those will have been coming at the direction of a terrorist organization or a nation-state actor, and they may not launch their terror attack today or tomorrow, but they're loading the gun. They're getting ready, and this risk, it's a game of numbers. We've seen a couple of hundred people that we know are on the terror watch list that we've now identified. But how many do we simply not know about, and how much more risks have we taken on? I hope the FBI has their arms around it, but I don't think there's any way you can count on law enforcement, FBI, to secure a nation when you're letting thousands of people come in from all across the world. Your point's exactly right. These aren't just from Mexico and Central America any longer. This risk is very real, and I fear that one day we will wake up to a really bad outcome as a result of the failed border policies of the last 3.5 years.